Looking forward to it. Of course, we are back at the Hobart Netball and Sports Centre, JB. It is great to be back at what has been, well, it was a good home for a very long amount of time for the Chargers before quickly moving to the deck for a couple of seasons and then going back to Kingborough for a couple of seasons. Now we seem to be back. Well, I suppose you could call it I'd say yes, the true home, because everyone, the days when I was reffing Siebel, JB, some of the games there would be absolutely packed. Probably one of the best atmospheres in the league when it comes to the crowd, the game, everything, etc. It was just so fun to be involved with, and it's great to see that we're making a return back to the Hobart Netball and Sports Centre.
Yeah, it's a really good multi-sport venue, as we know, with the netball, and I mean even the Thunder and the Chargers got into a boxing match one night, Ronnie. So it's
yes, we got footage of that somewhere, Jobo.
Clearly showed its multitude abilities there. But no, just talking with Brett the other week when we were off at the press conference there, some of the thoughts and plans they have around, particularly enhancing the venue for basketball,
yes,
which would be really, really good. And not only would it obviously enhance for basketball, but it would work as well for netball. It's not just a selfish ploy to get basketball back in. I mean, personally, from a convenience standpoint of being in the Newtown Lenna Valley area, very convenient. Right?
Yes, I think that's for all of us, Joe.
I think that's
someone that lives in the city here as well too.
Yes, no, that's worked out well. I think everyone's going to be pretty happy with that. I mean, it's not necessarily going to be convenient as far as I think the real... And I mean, and I say this, but I think about it as well. It doesn't matter where you have a game at 6 o'clock on a Friday night.
Yeah.
If it's going to be in Kingston, you're going to get delays.
Yes.
If it's going to be on Creek Road, it's going to be delayed.
Yeah.
If it's all the way out at My State Bank Arena, it's going to be delayed.
Yes.
So, that's just one of those things where, we work around and we adapt and all that sort of stuff. So... but it's going to be really good. It's going to be really fun. I really enjoyed the few games we did out there at the Netball Centre. As you mentioned, it's a bit of a different feel at Kingston because you've got sound coming from one side of you.
Correct.
Whereas... and it was very similar when we were at the deck. Only really had the crowd coming from one side. But when you're broadcasting at the Netball Centre, you've got the bleachers as equal on one side to the other as well. So, you can jam in, rather than just the general 800 we can get at Kingston, we can get around the 1,500 mark at the Netball Centre. And we were there for that. We rocked in late because we had our junior finals of the prelim final day where we'd been broadcasting for BTAS.
Yes.
We rocked in. There was at least 1,200 in there. No issues. It was loud. It was, it was a great atmosphere there. It's just one of those things. Sometimes you've got to progress and move through and adapt. And I think the Chargers are now, after they've had, had the layoff in 2019, had the COVID year of 2020, rebuild the brand through 2020-21. Now that we're back in 2022, we want to be able to fit more people in, as far as that's concerned. I think the Sports Centre's a really good move on that. A big shout out to Kingston and the Kingborough Sports Centre. They've been, it's been great the last few years. The only thing I request, Ronnie, is that the Nutella Calzone is still available at catering at halftime at the Sports Centre. I have thoroughly enjoyed the chicken wings and the pizza and the calzones out at Kingston there. But no, it'll be a really good spot, a really good venue, and almost more of a tribal feel as well, because even though those bleachers are there, you don't feel, sometimes at the Sports Centre it could feel very open.
Yes.
But with the crowd bearing down on you on both sides, players players and spectators sort of mingling a little bit more as well.
Yes.
Adds a bit more of an atmosphere there. It's going to be great. It's going to be really good fun and highly convenient for you and I. So,
absolutely,
looking forward to it.
Yes, looking forward to it. And, of course, we are taking one game out to Sorell, out to a new stadium out there
that'll be good as well. For those of you that haven't seen it, I encourage, we'll probably flash a couple of photos up on here.
I'm hoping so, Joe. I've got to source them somewhere.
I'm sure we'll be able to flick a couple of messages.
Yes.
But no, when you get a chance, people, get out to Sorell and check out the new stadium out there at Pembroke Park. They have done a tremendous amount of work on that facility out there, and that is a true multi-purpose facility. The football ground's not too far away. You've got the indoor, outdoor netball, basketball. You've got plenty of room for all your other traditional sports, your ball and court sports. They've done a mountain of work out there, and a big shout out to all of those that are going to be using it, particularly to our friends at SEBA. The basketball there that sort of run out through Sorell and your peninsula area there, that's usually their home there as well. So that's going to be something that I think a lot of people are going to use really relish. And the thing too, again, a lot of people go, oh, geez, the game's out at Sorell. Well, yeah, but it's the Hobart Chargers. It's not the Kingborough Chargers. It's not the Moona Chargers. It's
Correct.
not the Glenorchy Chargers. It's the Hobart Chargers. And you would be surprised the amount of people that travel to watch Chargers games.
Oh, yes.
Not just from Kingston, not just from
Correct.
Glenorchy, but we're talking people from Sorell and Midway Point
Yep.
and places like that. So why not take the game out to them? Why not let them enjoy it? And the convenience as well for the road team. They only have to travel to there and then to the airport if they really want
Correct,
to.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
you've got to think of the logistics of that as well. But no, as far as, being in the community, being in the community, being active in the community, supporting the whole community, representing the whole community, again, just another great move.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to getting down there for a look ourselves. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it out to the opening there, JB. We were a bit tied up. That was on the same day as we announced Alana Smith and Dwayne Davey, so we were a little bit tied up. So pity we couldn't get out there, though. Chargers President Brett McKay was certainly out there flying the flag, as he likes to say to us.
Yes, a bit of strength. I know that Mark Nash is certainly helping a little bit with some strength and conditioning behind the scenes as well. I know
Yes.
Anthony Stewart was obviously always going to be out there. I know a few different players within each program are out there as well. So the club well represented. It was a pity we couldn't get out there and just get a couple of grabs. But no, it's certainly a high-quality venue, particularly for somewhere that you would class as quote-unquote regional by comparison. But no, a really high-class facility, good venue, and what better way to, show what sort of a venue it is, but by getting some top flight basketball down there. So, getting a couple of NBL 1 games there, big tick in the box.
Absolutely. And I suppose the other thing too, just to kind of wrap that one up, JB, as well too, it would be really good for the local boy and kind of a local role model, so to speak, in Harry Griffiths, who is based down that area, and Harry has worked his entire backside off to get to where he's at today with the Chargers. I spoke with Harry this morning actually while he was here getting some shots up, getting some practice in, and he was telling me that he's really keen about this game down at Sorell and really looking forward to playing in front of friends, family and whatnot. So he's really excited, and what an opportunity for him to be playing in front of his local fans in his local town.
Absolutely, and I think that's something, again, that other people need to look at when we talk about location and stuff like that. And Jacob Rich is another one that comes from that particular region.
Oh, yes, absolutely, too.
Comes from that region as well. So, I mean, you look at the sacrifice and the commitment someone like a Harry and Jacob on a Friday make to get home from school, get home from uni, get home from work, get all their gear, go from Sorell, come right through, go over the bridge, come right through the city, get through all the traffic, get down to Kingston, play, and then hit the track and get back basically the same night. So, I mean, that's something that, you've got to look at as well. It's not just the fans making sacrifices here, it's the players making sacrifices as well. So, for those two young men, and as you mentioned, particularly for Harry, probably a bit different for Jacob because he's been playing for a long time, but same applies. Playing in front of friends, playing in front of family, in your local area, in your local community for a team you've wanted to play for a long time, that's a bucket list item, that's a career item ticked off the list for sure.
Absolutely. No, he's just walking through. I thought he was going to come to the front desk here. He's going to make an inquiry. We'll take a quick break here. We'll come back with more after this.
You're right, Ronnie. We'll just make a payment here.
Oh, yeah, we'll just...
Make sure I get the decimals right. There you go, mate.
There we go.
Easy. Awesome.
There we go.
Cheers,
JB just getting the business done as we speak here on the Chargers TV
Always
podcast.
Get the business done, Ronnie. You ask anyone who knows me knows I get the business done.
Absolutely, he does, folks. And I suppose while we're talking about making business and whatnot, we better make sure we get the sponsor roll call bloody run, because I don't know if we've got a copy of the run sheet somewhere.
Probably not on us. I don't know. Can we really do sponsors from 22 into 23?
Yeah, good. That's a good question. Yeah.
What we will do, though, is give a shout-out to everyone who did support the club
there we go.
in 2022-23. Do we have a sponsor roll call?
Is it on your laptop?
It may be.
Just check your files there, JB.
I might have a look.
I'll thank Swisher, who are Gold Platinum sponsor.
They have done a mountain of work.
They've done a fantastic job, not only with our players and whatnot and everything else, but of course giving us a bit of space around here as well too to do our podcasts from here, JB.
And the press conferences as well.
And
all
the press
through,
conferences.
All through 2022.
Yes.
They were great, really great supporters of our media endeavours.
Absolutely. We'll have some news. I think we'll have some news in the new year on what we're doing for next year, JB, with our weekly preview show. And I think the press conferences might be moving potentially, but that remains to be seen at this point in time.
I have a negative on the sponsor list, Ronnie, but what we'll do
yes.
is at the end of the podcast, we will clip up a random spiel that I gave during a game at some point.
I will find that spiel, yes.
And we will clip it on the end.
Yes, we'll get...
It's either that or we just don't give them a shout-out. I think we should give them a shout-out.
We should give them a shout-out because
sure.
they... of course, we went around with the championship banner as well too around the sponsors and, gave them a bit of a look at the trophy.
When we decided we didn't want it on our own mantelpieces at home, Ronald, yes, we did go around to the...
Correct.
But no, it was good to, again, just thank all those sponsors and their support. Chris Oldham Sandwich. Good to see you, mate.
Touche.
Shout out to the Penguin fellas there. But no, it was good to get around and support all our local sponsors. And again, a big thank you to all of them in 2022. And of course, we genuinely hope they're on board for 2023. Of course, we don't have a set sponsor list right now. But we will plug at the end of this one here. A big thank you to everyone who supported us in 2022. Couldn't have done it without you. Of course, the turnaround in the women's program and that NBL 1 South Championship for the men's running.
Yes, need we say more there? Is that one of the highlights of the year for us when we look back on season 22?
Oh, I think it's the highlight. And I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that you look at the start of the year and you look at the different composition of the team, you look at the way they adapted their game with the different composition of the team, all of those little things, hearing... some of the post games that went down after some of the really tough losses, and just thinking, wow, is this one, are the players going to be able to hold on, or the coach is going to be able to hold on? So to see the men come through all of that and really get to a point from the first 3-4 weeks of the season where you went, geez, I don't know about this, to, 6 weeks later, everyone went, oh, no, we're right, we're good.
Yep.
We're really confident here. Had a couple of slip-ups towards the end of the season, regrouped, really made a run of it, really made a go of it, and, of course, got the result, as we mentioned there. I think the other highlight, too, just to see the women's program, take those steps, really grow, and just see, a team that was completely defeated, that was, in a sense, lacklustre, in a team that was struggling culturally off the court, to have them... turn things around and get those few wins there. And then all of a sudden, take the next step, managing to get it back-to-back, winning 3 of your 4 and stuff like that. Just the little things for the women's team that made that, the transition right now. We've gone from, okay, we've got a team on paper here. Okay, we've got some imports. Okay, they're slowly adapting to the game to we've just signed an Olympian.
Yeah.
I think it speaks volumes of what that women's program has done right now. And again, the men's have that championship. Great. Now it's time to focus on the future. So there's a whole stem of things that have come from season 2022. I think from an in-game standpoint, it has to be Ollie's dunks for me.
Yes.
And on top of that, our call of AJ's game winner was pretty big as well. I think I sprained an ankle jumping up and down in celebration on that one there. But AJ's game winner, Ollie's dunks, just seeing the way Harry Froling at his size would move with the ball. And then, again, on the women's side of things, you've got Angie who's running around, getting double-doubles left, right and centre, 30, 40-point games. You've got Paige Bradley running up and down the floor. Even seeing someone like Ashana Thompson who, really was sort of at a crossroads at the end of 2021, comes in, has an injury, but manages to still get back from that and relish like a 6-man role sort of thing and really regrow her game. Of course, unfortunate to see the retirement of Kylie, but I've been teasing her in the last few weeks and sort of suggesting she knew that she'd be training almost 8 days a week, and that's why she decided to call it quits. But no, she's still floating around as well in a mentor role. But yeah, just a really solid year and a productive year on both fronts. Even if the win-loss record didn't reflect it for the women, it was a really productive year on all fronts for the club.
Oh, absolutely. And, of course, yep, the championship, my highlight. Yes, how can you not miss Ollie's dunks as a highlight, JB? They were fantastic to call. The game winner, as you mentioned, absolutely. What a thriller of a game that was. It was absolutely unbelievable.
Even the last derby.
Yeah, the last derby.
We thought surely...
that had some moments, JB, I must say.
At the end of that game, I don't know how many people really know, but I'm sitting there looking at you and I'm getting ready to call a Thunder win. Because of the way that game was transpired, I'm thinking 5.8. I'm like, we're about to get excited. Thunder about to win this. Like, Sean McDonald just went crazy.
Yeah, he just brought them on their back and said, I'm not letting you guys die, kind of thing.
And I think that's one thing that we've been able to relish too, Ronnie. You know, obviously off the back of the first Jack Jumpers season, we've got Jack Jumpers playing all over the state. For us to be able to see them in person, night in, night out for some, for the other boys, 2-3 times a season, to see them play and then see how hard they worked and now see the payoff they're getting now here in season 2022-23 in the NBL, that's also a highlight as well. To see someone like Sam McDaniel, okay, he's out injured at the moment, he's playing really hard when he's on the floor, and playing really well. Jared Bairstow with a bit of an ankle complaint. I think that's a bit of an ongoing thing with Jared at the moment. But, I mean, another guy who's high class, high quality, comes into the team as an NBL guy and willingly is the second rotation off the bench. Really setting that standard, really setting that culture. You look on the other side of it, obviously, for the Thunder, you look at a Sean McDonald who went from, development player, Mr. Basketball for a couple of years, and all of a sudden he's playing crucial minutes as well. Matty Kenyon playing crucial minutes, of course. Fab Krizlovic always playing really well. And I just hope that on the other side of this, that, in 3 to 5 years' time, we can be sitting here talking about our women's squad and watching them go up and down from the WNBL to the NBL 1. That's really the next hope at the moment. So we'll see how that all pans out. But, a really productive 2022 for the club on all fronts.
Absolutely. And, of course, the other highlight I should mention too was Kylie's last game. And what an absolute... again, that was an exciting game to call, JB. And that had it all from one of the best starts we've probably seen from that women's team this year to in what was, the fairy tale had to come to an end. But it was thanks to the Frolings who spoiled a party on that occasion. But what a game that was. It was just I just remember it as like, fantastic start. They're really on, like you say, talk about saving your best till last. I felt like that was probably their best game of the season.
Yeah, and they didn't get the win. Which tells you a lot as well. It also speaks volumes to Launceston, just how good they are. But, I mean, that was a game that when you walked in, obviously there's the emotion of Kylie's last game, but even the crowd was there. Yes. We talk about the crowd building during the women's game. No, the crowd was there.
Oh, they were there.
The crowd was there as much as it was for any men's game we'd had, that wasn't a derby. So it just speaks volumes to just how well and how much Kylie was loved. That was a sellout crowd that night. 2 really good games and really fitting of what a Tassie derby is.
Absolutely, JB. And, of course, you can follow the Mackay Timber Hobart Chargers on their social media. You can give us a like on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. Or, you can follow us on Instagram. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, too, which has gone up in some subscriptions as well.
Over 350, right?
Yes. Just getting closer to our own West Coast Ball Connection one, which has skyrocketed through the last few months, JB. But, yes, you can keep updated with all the goings on here at the Mackay Timber Hobart Chargers. And a big thank you to Mackay's as naming rights sponsor and Platinum women's sponsor as well too. Clarence Minor 10 Platinum men's sponsor as well too, JB. Yes. Just to name a few off the top of my head there. And of course, I know I got a message today from our president Brett Mackay. He's in COVID, unfortunately. So speedy recovery.
COVID?
He's got COVID.
Oh.
So speedy recovery and I hope you're feeling okay, boss. So
yes, no, I can imagine Brett would be somewhat of a happily relieved man.
Yes.
He's been flying all around Southeast Asia lately, just really getting on with business and stuff now that he's free to travel. For Brett, this would be a really good week for him to, while he's unwell, to simply decompress, get a bit of laptop work done and probably perform JB's favourite exercise, the old 12-ounce curl rock. So
yes, that's right, JB.
I think Brett will be getting into a few of those. And yes, but no, unfortunate for that. And that's probably worked out in a way without having any certain answer for other future press conferences. It's probably worked out well that we're all up in the air on that one, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, we hope to have something in the next few weeks, probably more in the new year, more than likely. I can't give you we can't give you too much information there.
We don't really know much else, Ronnie.
Well, that's true, and that's very true. Usually we know a bit more what's going on, but yes, unfortunately, no, we don't know too much at this point in time. So hopefully, we were supposed to have a press conference this week, but that got pushed back. So
yes, well, of course, when key components to press conferences can't turn up, it does change the dynamic of it. But no, we are, as we mentioned, we're hoping to get something certainly in the new year. I think we'll be pushed before Christmas and before the new year there, but they're certainly hoping to get something in the new year, and hopefully once we have a little bit more information, we'll be able to push out another episode to the people, Ronnie. To people.
Yes,
episode 4 to people.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, we are looking to. I know everyone, as much as I think I can come out with this publicly because we've made our intentions well known to our boss. That as much as we enjoyed Chargers Hoops TV and enjoyed recording that out of our media partners of Beetle Black Media, don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic year. We're deciding to bring the show back to the old format in what we do, what we used to do. We'll do it out of here from Swisher though. We won't be doing it out of my own place.
Yes, no, we will utilise Swisher.
We will utilise Swisher because Swisher have been absolutely so kind and grateful to us. We built the space and whatnot. So our intention and our plan is to bring the show from you from here. Of course, we'll record as per usual. We're not doing anything live, of course, JB, because we only perform that once a week or twice a week, depending on the round. But yeah, our intention is to bring back the old show and bring the best out of ourselves like we usually do. What we're doing right now, JB.
Yeah, pretty much the old Stadler Waldorf, Roy and HG, irreverence and the banter. It's always going to be the banter. A bit of fun and stuff like that. And again, though, a big shout out and a massive thank you to DA, Darren and his crew, and everyone that's been involved in the Chargers Hoops TV episodes out there at Beetle Black Media. I think one thing that I can certainly say we take away from it, Ronnie, is a bit more, it was certainly more of an understanding of production, certainly more value on what it takes to produce a show to that level. And it's probably brought a level of, I wouldn't say that it's brought a level of professionalism to us, but it's certainly helped in the way that we broadcast and certainly the way that we do our media and our presentation and stuff like that. So that's been really, really good. And of course, still going to be some great stuff coming out of Beetle Black.
Oh yeah,
as
absolutely.
Well. Still going to have our reels, still going to have our, the highlights and stuff like that. Still able to get our interviews and all of that. They've been doing some great work around the place as well. And a big shout out to Beetle Black. They've been doing some huge stuff in the off season as well. I know they've been doing some stuff with Clubs Tasmania, different football clubs, and different sports as well. But yes, looking to revert back just to the old format and have a bit of fun and stuff like that with it as well. And just reverting back to the old school, so to speak, Ron.
Absolutely, no. It's been a lot of fun and. Sorry, that's just the...
We're keeping you up, are we, Ronnie?
Yeah, that's just the fantastic drinks provided here at Swisher.
Shout out to Pepsi Max and the Sunkist.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, no, it will be absolutely fun to bring the show here, and you never know, a lucky few might be able to see us doing that live in person here too, Joe.
Very true.
As much as we get a few people to walk across here and see us do our podcast, it's yes, no, they might get a treat if they're not careful. To nearly wrap us up, I do have a story that I did want to tell on our 22s coverage that we didn't get a chance to because the Sunwolves just went on an absolute roll, JB, and ended up beating Kingborough by
beating.
Well,
beating. That's a kind way to put it.
Yes, well,
I didn't think they taught that number.
Decimated. The
margin was that big. They didn't teach me that number at school, Ron.
That's very true.
Boy,
of course, they decimated the Kingborough Kings in what was probably one of the. You talk about one of the finals to talk about, a young Southern Wolves team which is probably the future. Some of those girls there, the future of our sport there, JB.
And a few of them have been working their tail off amongst the group in the pre-season here, mind you.
Yes, and one of those players that we will speak about is one Portia Chopping. And the story I wanted to mention on the air was that a few weeks ago, she had this pair of shoes that she wore to a tournament in Adelaide earlier in the year. Didn't have the greatest of tournaments. Decided to not wear those shoes again for a while, and she had to keep it away from all other shoes because apparently if she put it near the other shoes, right, this is very superstitious by the way too, JB, if she put it near the shoes, that could contage some kind of a bad run, so to speak.
Did her shoes have COVID?
Well, this is what I'm trying to work out.
Good Lord.
So we come to the major semi-final in the 22s. She decided to wear the shoes again. Didn't have her best game. So obviously the Kings won that game and got straight through to the grand final. Now I've been told on the drive home, Portia decided to tell her dad, and Pete Chopping, shout out to Pete, hello to you, to say, I don't want these shoes anymore, Dad. I'd like to burn them.
Oh, that would go over like the Hindenburg, Ronnie.
Yes.
Speaking of the Hindenburg, did she burn them?
Correct, yes. Oh. So what they have at the back was some big fire pot or whatever it is. Yes, that's probably the right word, JB. So Portia has decided to throw them in because I think Pete had a few other things in that item or whatever, the equipment or whatever it is, to burn. So the shoes went in. Now, within probably a minute, the shoes were gone and burnt. And then in the final, she wore another pair of shoes, played one of her best games for the 22s this season. Talk about being superstitious, JB. I tell you what, Portia is right up there as far as, well, it's one way to get rid of shoes.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying I do not condone the actions, and I'd like to think that young Miss Chopping has reimbursed her parents on those.
I'd like to.
Good Lord!
I'd like to think so, JB.
Yeah, look, that's pretty game. That's pretty game.
Yes.
I can't personally say that's something that I would do.
No, nor would I, JB. Actually,
although based on the amount of games I played in shoes, Ronnie, I'd have been burning shoes weekly. Not ideal. I'm the only person that the old quadricep story that everyone's probably heard of me right by now. When poor old JB on a fast break, college year 12 on the break, going up against Lonnie College, who split their Div 1 and Div 2 team up so they could try and get the Div 2 final. But that doesn't matter. We'll talk about that later.
Yes, of course.
I get a long rebound, only got to take off, just get the ball down the floor, 5 seconds to go. JB gets to half court, both the quads, both the hands and both the calves. Bang, gone, cramp up. It seriously looked like I'd just fallen out of the chair and couldn't walk.
Would one say you nearly done a Vince McMahon?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It was that bad that my dad said if I'd have been a horse, they'd have put me down years ago. Shout out to Matt Dawson, who will remember this story quite well, by the way.
Of course
I do remember the great Nick Haywood being there. He's coaching Don. He wouldn't have known me from, well, he shouldn't have known me anyway.
Yeah,
and I remember asking the great man, could he give me a hand? And he had to coach Don. He said, nah, sorry, mate, just left me on the court. As everyone walked by and shook hands, of course, that was the last time JB had 2 foot-long meatball double cheese, egg and bacon subs with 2 large Sprites and 6 cookies before a game.
Well, there you go. You've heard it
stuck
first.
To the fruit and veg diet for pre-game on that one, Ronnie. But,
there you go.
If we were going on superstition and those kind of performances, Ronnie, there wouldn't be a pair of shoes left in the world.
No, there's certainly not. But one of the most unique things I've ever been told and heard.
Pretty different.
Very different. And fair to say, before we did the podcast, I did bump into Portia as she was coming out of Chargers training here. So we had a good conversation about it, and she seemed fine about us allowing me to tell the story a little bit.
Too late now.
Well, Pete gave me the all clear as well too. So if they've come from the dad, I mean, hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, very true. Well, let's hope young Portia has plenty of good games this year. Otherwise, Mum and Dad's bank account is not going to be too kind, I wouldn't say.
No, certainly.
I wonder what Father Christmas is bringing Portia. Is the new pair of shoes or an incinerator?
Well, that remains to be seen, JB. But shout out to Portia. She's done very well, and I believe she maybe as you mentioned, she's doing a bit of training here with the Chargers as well too. So it's good to see she's getting an opportunity there as well, along with all the other youngsters that are involved as well too. That will pretty much wrap us up. We've nearly gone the full hour here, JB. I've just had a quick look at the timer.
Sorry to everyone.
Yeah. Anyone here?
Yes, no, it's quiet night here at Swisher at the moment. A few of the boys running around and playing, but yeah, shout out to everyone. Hope you've got a spare hour between now and Christmas.
We might do a two-part. I might split it up into 30-minute blocks, JB.
I think we might have to.
We might do that, and what we might do in those 30-minute blocks as well too. We'll give the sponsors a good run in each there at the back end.
I like your thinking.
Just to keep everyone happy indeed. On behalf of me and JB, we want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a safe and happy New Year. We didn't get to do our annual photo, by the way, too, JB, the other night as well too. I
don't think I was worth being photographed at that particular point.
Oh, right. Okay, JB. Well, that makes sense. Fair enough.
Lord.
Oh, good grief.
A big shout out to our friends down the road at Fox Fridays, though, and up at the T-Bone Brewing Co. We'll leave that there.
Yeah, leave it at that. Yes, but no. On behalf of myself and JB, Merry Christmas and a safe and happy New Year. We hope you enjoy your time with family and friends and cherish those moments you get with them as well too. We are back sometime in the new year. I just don't know when, JB.
No, we're pretty much the same, Ronnie. We're just working on it, but we're hoping, probably mid to late January.
Yeah.
As we mentioned, we don't mind coming up with some brief updates, but ideally if we can sort of get a bit of bulk behind what we can talk about, then we can sort of throw out an episode of around half an hour and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. That will wrap us up here from Swisher West End site as well too. And of course, just a quick reminder, we might as well give Swisher a quick shout out here as well too. A reminder that it is closed to the public from the 24th to
23rd.
the 23rd. Sorry,
6 p.m. on the. We'll get the calendar up and confirm this. So for those of you that are listening, we are closed from 6 p.m. on the 23rd of December, and we are back open to the public on the 3rd of January. So get your memberships in, come in, live life, shoot more hoops at Swisher Hoops Academy.
Absolutely. And on that note, we will wrap it up here for this edition and for season 2022. It has been fun. It has been enjoyable, stressful, dramatic. I don't know, everything at the same time.
It's been a two-handed wham, bam, jam. Thank you, ma'am.
On that note, on behalf of Justin Bryan, I'm Ron Riggs. We will see you next year.